Hello and welcome to the webinar 100base-T1 Validation and Debug. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Gilles Clermont. I am Application Engineer here at Tektronix. Today we will talk about Automotive Ethernet, Validation and Debug. This webinar is addressed to engineers working in a test and validation group from car manufacturer or tier 1 or silicon companies. What we will do today, we will start with general presentation of 100base-T1 and Automotive Ethernet, the context and what you need to test. Then we will go in some details in the different possibility to separate the full duplex signals, because you need to be able to separate the signals before to be able to perform a decoding or signal quality test. And then I will show you it during a live demo. I have here an 100base-T1 link. I have the required probing, and I have the oscilloscope with the software. Let's start.
We will start with an introduction to 100base-T1. Then we will have a look at the compliance test, what we need to perform a compliance test. And then we will talk about signal separation. So why do we need to perform signal separation? We will particularly look at the solution from Tektronix to perform signal separation with software. And at last, we will look at what we can do once the signal is separated. So we will look at signal quality test and decode. In automotive, we all hear about keywords like autonomous driving, connectivity, electrification, and so on. For engineers working in automotive, it translates to more and more embedded systems to be designed and validated. First, as standalone modules, then embedded in the complete system. Tektronix is focusing on three main segments for automotive solutions: in-vehicle networking, vehicle sensors, powertrain, and electrification. Today we will focus on in-vehicle networking, and more specifically on Automotive Ethernet 100base-T1. So where will we find some Automotive Ethernet link? It depends on the level of automation of the car. So usually if these levels go from L0 to L5, so L5 is a car that will be able to drive by itself. For the level L1 and L2, so a small automation, you usually have a sensor connected to one processors. I mean that each sensor has its own processors, and then this processors goes to a gateway that links them to the brakes and all the other part of the car. So in this configuration, you should find some Automotive Ethernet link between some sensors and the processors, and some processors and the gateway. For higher level of automation, from L3 to L5, we usually have another architecture called domain controller. So in this architecture, we try to reduce the number of processors in the car, because it's too expensive to have processors for each sensors. So in this case, you may find some Automotive Ethernet link between some sensors and the main processors. The in-vehicle networking can be split in four areas: safety, infotainment, powertrain, and body and comfort. As you can see, 100base-T1 interfaces are mostly used for safety and infotainment. The development of Automotive Ethernet standards is linked to several trends towards standardization, full duplex signaling, and PAM3 modulation. This is based on the well-proven Ethernet standard that has been modified to fulfill the requirement of weight, reliability, and cost. One of the distinctive characteristics of Automotive Ethernet is the use of unshielded twisted pair cable that addresses the cost, reliability, and weight requirements, while achieving a data rate of 100 megabits per second comparable to 100base-T. Additionally, It is a bidirectional bus in contrast to conventional Ethernet that needs two pairs, one dedicated to transmit and one dedicated to receive, in order to achieve comparable data rate. In order to check if your design is compliant, you need to perform a couple of tests in a particular environment. Remember that when we talk about compliance test, we are testing a standalone module. This screenshot is showing the software of Tektronix to perform 1000 base T1 compliance test. What do you need to perform a compliance test? Here you can see the schematic of a test for 100 base T1 compliance test. As you can see, the device under test is isolated. We are only testing a standalone module. It means that, although this is a full duplex bus, we will only measure transmitted signals, as there is no receiver sending signals during the test. You need to control the DUT to output compliance test signals. The DUT is connected to a test fixtures. The signal is then measured by an oscilloscope using a differential voltage probe. This is the simplest test setup in which you need one oscilloscope, one differential voltage probe, and one test fixtures. To perform other tests, you may need a clock frequency divider, a 2 channels arbitrary waveform generator, and a second differential probe. When and why do we separate the signals, and how can it be done? Once you are done with your compliance test, so once your isolated module is compliant with the automotive standard, you will have to integrate this module in a bigger system. And then you will also have to test to make sure that the signals are still correct, but you are not in compliance test condition anymore because you cannot connect anymore your DUT to a test fixtures to route the signal to the scope, and you don't have anymore a signal going in only one direction, but you will have signals in both directions. So you will not be able to draw a diagram, let's say, on both signals overlapped. So when you reach this stage of integration, you will have to perform several tests like eye diagram for receiver and transmitter, and you will also have to decode your signals. This screenshot makes visible why it's not possible to analyze full duplex signals. As you can see in the top part of the screenshot, we try to draw an eye diagram, and you can see how the signal looks like in the bottom part. So the signal doesn't look like a PAM3 signals because both signals are overlapped, so it's a multi-level signals. And when you try to make some analysis, like an eye diagram or some decoding, you will not succeed in analyzing this signal. One way to perform signal separation is to use directional couplers. So in order to do this, you need to cut the cables. So this is an issue always to modify the systems because you may have some reflection, some change of impedance or things like this. Another problem that is linked to this method is that you will have a big loss of amplitude. So the directional coupler will give you maybe 10% of the signal, and maybe it will distort a little bit the signal. So this is also an issue to make signal quality measurements. Another thing that is affecting the test and measurement is that directional couplers have insertion loss, reflection, and they also have propagation delay. So it will be more challenging to perform any delay measurement on your signals using this method. Tektronix also offer a different approach. So we call it a software signal separation. So this is a patent pending solution from Tektronix. So this solution captures voltage and current waveforms and use these waveforms to run an algorithm to separate master and slave signals. So for this, you do not need to cut the cable, you just need one voltage probe and one current probe. And this is quite easy to make the connection. You just need to prepare a little space, just enough to connect the current probe. And you can capture both waveforms and run the algorithm. This screenshot shows the voltage and current waveform before separation and after separation. So as you can see, the two waveforms showing the signal before separation are not PALM3 signals, it's multi-level signals. And if you see the two waveforms below, so after separation, you can see that it looks like a PALM3 signal. So thanks to the software method, you can get the near-end and far-end signal using a software method, and you can also recover the clock from the PALM3 signal. So the good thing about this method is that you do not need to cut the cable, so you do not disturb the system, and you have no problem of signal integrity because you are using high impedance differential probe, and you do not have insertion loss problem, reflection problem, you don't have a propagation delay problem, so it will allow you to make good delay measurements. Also, it will be important after for decoding, not to have delay issue. Here we want to compare the eye diagram from the two methods. The signals from the directional coupler are strongly attenuated, so you get about 10% of the initial signals. On the left, you can see an eye diagram with a directional coupler. On the right, you can see an eye diagram using Tektronix software method. As you can see, there is much more noise on the one with the directional coupler. So it will be much more harder to conclude something from the results with directional coupler. You may try to de-embed this signal to remove some distortion due to the directional coupler, but it's difficult to de-embed strongly attenuated signals because you risk to amplify the noise as well, and that will reduce your signal to noise ratio and modify your measurement results. On the contrary, the Tektronix software methods keep the right amplitude and doesn't add extra noise. So it leads to more reliable measurements and easier conclusion. Once the signals are separated, you will be able to perform signal quality tests and decoding. Oscilloscopes usually have software options to make jitter analysis and eye diagram measurements, but this software will only work on binary signals. If you need to perform jitter measurements and eye diagram measurements on a PALM3 signal, you need a dedicated software. Tektronix developed a software called TekExpress Automotive Ethernet PALM3 Analysis. It performs automatic measurements on PALM3 signals like eye height or eye width, jitter measurements, total jitter at bit error rate. You can see the available measurements on the screenshot. When you perform this kind of test, you cannot refer to a standard anymore because the test takes place in a real environment with plenty of non-controlled disturbing sources. If you want to get pass-fail results, you are free to set the limits that make sense for your application. As in any TekExpress software, you can easily generate a report with measurement parameters and measurement results. Remember that using Tektronix software signal separation in combination with Tektronix PALM3 analysis allows you to measure the correct signals with full amplitude and no distortion. Another thing that engineers need to do is to decode the signal to check if everything is alright. Again, you cannot decode full duplex waveform. You first need to separate the signals. Once the signals are separated, you can apply your analysis. Tektronix offers decoding. You can see the results directly under the waveform or in a table. You can also use the search to find a specific pattern in your signal. Remember that if you use the Tektronix software signal separation, you will also be able to make accurate timing measurement. Tektronix solution allows you to decode and plot the eye diagram in real time on the same screen. This should make your work easier and more effective. Now, let's make live measurements.
Let's move to the demo part. So I will present you the system. So this is a 100 base T1 DUT from Texas Instruments. So what I do is that this oscilloscope is sending a ping through this board. This is the master, to the slave, to this AFG. I just use the AFG to have a LAN port to receive the ping and send the answer. What you need to perform the automotive Ethernet signal separation, the test and the decode, is you need a differential probe. So I have here a TDP1000, so it's a differential probe with a 1.5 GHz bandwidth. And I have a current probe, so this one is a TCP30A. So it's the current probe that goes until 120 MHz bandwidth. So first we will connect the current probe. So what you need to do is just to remove the gray part of the cable to have access to these two wires. This should be as short as possible to provide to catch too much noise, and then you just need enough space to attach the probe, and that's it. You lock the current probe and you're done. Then you need to connect the differential probe. So I just attach this little adapter so that I can connect easily my differential probe, and that's it. Okay, so once you connected the probe, you need to make sure that you DSKU the two channels, because these two probes have different propagation delay. So what you do, you just go to channel 2, go to the menu multi-channel, and here, as you can see, the scope already knows the different propagation delays of the probe, because these are Tektronix probes, so we can communicate this kind of data, and you just need to press OK DSKU, and then the oscilloscope will take care of the DSKU. Then I will open the software. So this is called TechExpress Automotive PAM3 Analysis. It's this window, and we can go through the configuration. So in our case, we will acquire live waveforms because we have a live DUT right here. You could also make the analysis on recorded waveforms. This is a full duplex 100 base T1 line, and we attach the probe at the master. You can also go to the slave or both at the same time. In this case, you would have all the measurements doubled for each probe set. I am using one voltage probe and one current probe connected on these channels. To begin with, I will keep the standard settings. You just need to go to signal correction to check that the software reads the DSKU value properly, because this is a very important feature. If this is wrong, we will not be able to separate the signal correctly. Then I just try signal separation validate, and the oscilloscope will set different settings on the scope. It will first show me the schematics where I should connect the probes. I click OK. And then the probe is, the oscilloscope is configuring horizontal settings and acquisition. We can have a look what it's performing. So this is my differential voltage. This is, the blue one is the current. Math 7 and 8 are only intermediate waveforms that the oscilloscopes need to separate the signals. And the reference waveforms are the result of the signal separation. So let me make a bit of room. I can delay this, okay. So reference 7, let me make a zoom. This is the near end separated waveform. So I will just make it a bit bigger by turning the other channel off. So R7 is the near end separated signal. R8 is the far end separated signal. So as you can see, there are a bit more ringing on R8 because of the effect of the cable. And the two other waveforms are the respective clock, recovered clock for near end and far end. So that's the way we do to separate the signal. So at the end, you also get two eye diagrams. So you can check if the signal is okay, if you will be able to perform some decoding. So in this case, the near end is very good. The far end at more noise, that makes sense because there is a cable and more effect. So once you've done that, we can go further in the configuration menu. So let's go to test selection. These are all the tests that we offer for signal quality test. So I will start right now. It will acquire again, and during this time I will show you the other menu. Up. So we will perform all these tests. In acquisition, it's only if you are performing tests on the recorded waveforms. And in configuration, there is something important. There is this limit editor and apply limits. So let me open it to you. Open it. This signal quality tests are not compliance tests, so there are no standards and there are no official limits that you need to respect. So if you want, at your convenience, you can enter some limits there, and then if you click apply limit, you will have either pass or failed for each test. As I didn't check this option, I have always non-applicable and informative. When it will be finished, I will go through the report to show you how it looks like. So in the background, you see all the waveforms. So you can also see all the measurement on the side that the oscilloscope is performing to fill the report. So the test is done. The report shows up automatically. So a report looks like this. First, you have some general information, like you can put the name of the system that you have been tested, you have the date, you have some information on the test systems, like what software was used, if the DSQ value is correct, you have the hardware serial number and so on. Then you have a first table that is just a summary. So here you see the list of tests that we performed and the results. So sometimes it's written pass or fail if you select apply limit or informative. And then you will have in detail all the results. So first in table, so measurement per measurement, and at the end you will have the waveforms. So the eye diagrams for each time near end and then far end, and then the bathtub curve. So that's it for the part signal quality. Now we can go to see how to perform decoding. So to perform decoding, I will acquire another waveform. I will go lower in sample rate because you don't need to have that high sample rate to perform decoding. So I think we are good with the settings. I don't need also to repeat all the measurements. I can just perform the signal separation, clicking here. I am creating some traffic by pinging the generator from the oscilloscope. I have a special program to make some ping very fast. Now we just need to wait for the signal to be separated and then we can configure the bus. So we can close this. I will remove the useless waveform so that we have more space on the screen. Okay. So I will do the decoding on the near end waveform. So what I need to do is only to add a new bus. Then I select in the list automotive Ethernet. Signal type differential, that's correct. Source is not channel 1, is reference 7. And I have to set the threshold. So the threshold, in this case, with just a differential probe and no directional coupler, should be 350 millivolts. And the loud threshold minus 350 millivolts. Okay, and now we can see that in the middle of the screen we have some traffic. So I will use the zoom to have a closer look. Okay. So this is the beginning of my 100 base T1 frame. And then we can go through. I will also add a result table so that you can see also the value in a table. Add. Okay. I will reduce this window a little. So in the table, you can see all the information of the decoding. You can also save this very easily as a CSV. And using the zoom, you can go in details through the waveform and the decoded traffic. So you can see the MAC address, some data. Then you can see, I think we can find the IP a bit further. Okay, and that's the end of the frame. That concludes the webinar 100 base T1 validation and debug. Let me summarize what we learned today. So Tektronix are the only patent pending solution to perform signal separation without cutting the cable. So let me summarize the advantages of this solution. So firstly, you don't need to cut the cable. Secondly, it's much easier to connect the probe to the system because you don't need to cut it and you don't need the directional coupler. And third, it allows you to make accurate measurements. Additionally, you can also perform decode. I hope that you found this webinar beneficial. If you need more technical details, or if you would like to get a product demonstration, or to request a free trial, please visit tek.com. Thank you.